This government, war against indiscipline. People were not allowed at that time to smoke in the public, no matter who you are. Whether you are NDLA, you are the one carrying the doors, you cannot smoke in the public. Even if cigarettes, you have to go to a private place to smoke. When you get to enter a vehicle, you'll be on a queue. You get to the bank, you'll be on a queue. It was war against indiscipline. Why? Of the 80s, when many of you were not born. But I was there to experience the war. Now we have a current war called War Against Drug Abuse. And you are now born. We want to let you know that this is the current war in the country. We want to fight against drug abuse. Because the topic now is youth involvement in the war against drug abuse to guarantee national security. At least I've finished my primary, secondary, and higher institution. I've worked a little bit in Nigeria and enjoyed myself. Before they say Nigeria will scatter. But you younger ones, you're starting. Why should Nigeria scatter in your generation? Young people, if I say, will Nigeria scatter in your generation, say, God forbid bad thing. Will Nigeria scatter in your generation? Youth, will Nigeria scatter in your generation? Will Nigeria scatter in your generation? Why am I saying so? We, the adults, we have enjoyed the world, we've enjoyed Nigeria. And we are saying Nigeria must scatter, Nigeria must scatter. The youth must say no to it. The old people may die and leave the country, but you have to enjoy yourself as well. Nigeria will not scatter in your generation. Am I making any point? Yes. Young people, am I making sense? Yes. Thank you very much. Now, what are the factors that threaten national security? Number one, economic factor. Factors that threaten national security. Point one, economic factor. Why do I say economic factor? You are now in school. Your parents pay your school fees. They feed you. They give you accommodation. Everything is free. Then you manage to scale through primary, secondary, and higher institution, and you come out, no job. At that point of unemployment, you become a frustrated person. Am I making any sense, young people? I say after your primary, secondary, and higher institution, there's no job, naturally you become a frustrated person. There are so many graduates like that today. So during that condition of economic factor, because of youth unemployment, young people not having job to do, they say an idle mind is the devil's what? An idle mind is the devil's what? Am I talking to young people? Yes. Young people, hello. Hi. I say an idle mind is what? So a lot of young people after primary, secondary, and higher institution, no job, is a condition of frustration. They are not happy people. At that point in time, they may be victims of political factor. What is political factor? We are going to organize election next year. They now go and organize the youth. Let us go and riot. Bako super sir. If I don't pass, Nigeria must scatter. If I pass, Nigeria will come together. These people will gather use under this political party. Another person will gather use because they are idle and jobless. But a young man that is working in a central bank, that is working in an oil company, that is working in any other good place, when you want to organize a riot, the person has gone to work. He's not part of that group. But those unemployed youths, the politicians will use them. And use the opportunity to tell young people in this hall now, when they want to use you, ask that your politician, please bring your children to join us in the riot. Hello? Any politician that wants to gather you in his community, come, let us go and riot. If I don't pass, Nigeria must scatter. Ask that politician, please bring your children to join us in the riot. Am I making any sense? You find out that the politician that is using young people that are not employed because of frustration to go and riot for him to pass election, the children are schooling abroad. The children are not in Nigeria. So anybody using you, hey, students of social school, come on, let us go and do Bako super sack, I no go gree. Ask the politician, where are your children here? They are not there. So you be a fool of the highest order that the politician that is using you, his children are eating chicken abroad. They are schooling abroad. Their classroom is as comfortable as this class. Air-conditioned classroom, air-conditioned vehicle, air-conditioned accommodation. And you're here struggling for your life and somebody is gathering you to go and riot. Ask the politician, where are your children? Let them join us in the riot and we go ahead and riot. If not, he's doing you 419. with one naira. You don't need 1 naira during elections. You need a good job as a young Nigerian. Young people, hello. Another factor is religious factor. Go to the barracks. I'm happy they are uniform men here. When you get to the barracks, there's nothing like Christian, Muslim, or pagans. Soldiers play and laugh together. Go to Mami, there's no barrier. But when you leave the barracks now, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I worship stone, I worship sun. We cannot talk again, we cannot eat again. They go to Tunu where everybody buys and eat together. Why should religion divide us for God's sake? These are what they use against the young people. We are from so area, I'm so area, we should not talk to one another. But you eat the same food now, buy the same palm oil, buy the same everything in the market, you eat the same food. Why should religion make us not to talk with one another again? This is one of the reasons why we are having insecurity. And if person is from this area, your friends don't talk to one another. Let me give you my story. In 2015, when Buhari was coming on stage as the president in this country during the elections, I am from the south. The president came from my community, Goodluck Jonathan. But I was posted from ZAMFARA to Gidan Kada in Zurumi. That is the last village. After that, you see a forest, then you enter the next country. I went to that community, sat down with them, was drinking nono with them, eating rice with them, conducting election with them, enjoying my life. But somebody is fighting. If it is not Buhari, if it is not Jonathan, no. God knows the time for anybody to rule the country. So what I'm saying is this. Please, don't allow religious factors to divide us. We are one Nigeria and we are very happy people. Hello? Tribal factor, language. Once somebody does not speak your language, you don't want to accept that person. But it's a Nigerian like you. Go to same border between Nigeria and Cotonou. A lot of people from Cotonou that speak Yoruba, they come to Nigeria and speak Yoruba, and Nigerians will accept them. But when the Hausa man is talking to Yoruba man, he doesn't accept the Hausa man. That is wrong. We are one Nigeria. Don't just allow only language to separate between you and your brother. That is the problem of security in Nigeria. Hello? Hello? Thank you very much. It's international politics. What I mean by international politics is this. By the time somebody deceives you that you should leave Nigeria and go to America, you're going to enjoy your life. Once the white man in Europe, Australia, any part of the world sees you with black skin, the person is no more your friend if you misbehave. A lot of Nigerians have been killed abroad because they went to pass drug in abroad. Once they see your black skin, they are no more your friends. There's international politics, and this is the problem of national security. Somebody doesn't accept you because you are carrying a black skin. It becomes an offense to be a black man. Now, what is the fuel that gives fire to national insecurity? Fuel is when fire is burning, you put more fuel, the fire will burn more and more. We have talked about the economic factor, that is youth unemployment, youth exploitation by politicians during elections, fanaticism because of religion, tribal language barriers, international politics, developed and developing nations. Now, these factors that threaten national security, what is the fuel that keep the fire of national insecurity burning? What is that fuel? It has to do with drugs. Many problems make people to go into trouble, they make trouble. But the fire behind the trouble is drugs. So fuel for national insecurity is drug. Hello? I said fuel for national insecurity is what? Drugs. Why do I say drugs? Last week, a young man from Magami Dansado area of ZAMFARA state must have gone to Onitsha or Lagos to buy cartons of Exol 5. And what is Exol 5? It's a stimulant. A young Nigerian, because of idleness, he was sent to go and buy cartons of Exol 5. There at Shafwe checking point, our officers NDLA picked up the young man with cartons of Exol 5, and he's going to Dansado Magami to give to people, to take those drugs and begin to kill the policemen that came to secure them, kill the soldiers that came to secure them. For God's sake, policemen, soldiers, whoever you think, they come from a family. If you tell a policeman to leave the police job and go and work in NNPC, oil company or Minister of Finance, he will go. But he's responding to national duty. And you're killing them because he's wearing uniform. Who told you a policeman doesn't like oil company? Who told you a policeman doesn't like Minister of Finance? He loves these areas. But God has called them to national assignment. And a young man went to Lagos or Onitsha to buy drugs to make sure the whole community is on fire. So they'll be killing police and soldiers. Imagine if the soldiers go on strike and say we are not going to work again in this country. Nobody will leave the house that day. The same thing with the police. That is why in abroad, the first people to be considered in anything called salary is the uniform men. Because no security, you cannot go to church. No security, you cannot practice politics. No security, you cannot go to market. No security, you cannot go to any business. But in Nigeria, we are told with security man, a policeman will stop you to ask you questions, you begin to insult him. Because he's wearing the uniform. It's a call to national assignment. Please, those people, the drugs, burials, and couriers who are using you to buy drugs, let us go and kill people. Please don't follow them if you are a young man. The young man has been arrested because the cartons of Exo 5 were too many. I don't know how many years of imprisonment. But I tell you, that young man doesn't have money to buy. Somebody sent him. So I don't know if you are going to be the next fool, a young man here. Somebody says you go and buy drugs, and he's sitting in a hotel in abroad, enjoying himself, and you are buying drugs and you are arrested, you go to the prison for him. I believe young people should become wise this time around. Don't be used of the politicians or drug dealers or troublemakers. Now, apart from drug abuse, there's a fuel for insecurity in the country, drug trafficking. A lot of young Nigerians have been used now to carry drugs from one point to another. I tell you a little story about Lagos. When I was in Lagos, a particular parent, father and mother, they carried their twin babies and loaded cocaine on their pampers. Twin babies carrying cocaine for the parents. Imagine when you see little innocent children. Twin babies, their pampers are loaded with cocaine. A lot of young people have been used to carry drugs. Some of them, the drugs will burst in their stomach and they will die before their time. So please, anybody telling you to carry drugs is your enemy. And I tell you, most of the people telling you to carry drugs, they are in a hotel, watching in one place, school area, you will not know it. Now, when we have all this insecurity, how do we solve the problem? Because if you mention a problem without a solution, you have not done anything. Number one is youth employment. Before I go into youth employment to solve the problem of insecurity in Nigeria, I ask the young people, where is Dangote from in Nigeria? Is it from the northwest or northeast? Dangote, is it from the northwest or northeast? Young people, where is Dangote from? Aliko Dangote, where is he from? Young people. Is he from the northwest or northeast of Nigeria? That is your property. Dangote has employed people. He doesn't care about religion. He doesn't care about tribe. He doesn't care about political party. He doesn't care about who you are. He employs everybody everywhere. And that is your property. What do we learn from that? ZAMFARA government must start employing young people so that the other people will not use them to do wrong things. Hello? Hi. There should be political and religious tolerance. If you come to where I'm staying in ZAMFARA, there are Nigerians who are not in school. When I'm passing on the street, let me pause for the dignitaries to come in. Students, a round of applause as dignitaries are coming in. Be clapping for them. Be clapping for them. Keep clapping till they sit down. Be clapping for your parents till they sit down. Thank you very much. Keep clapping. Thank you very much. There should be political and religious tolerance one for another in Nigeria. I'm living in Samaru. My office is in Samaru. But when I'm passing on the street, the Almajiri has not gone to school one day to listen to my lecture. The Almajiris will be hailing me. Ba kwaya, ba wahala. Ba kwaya, ba wahala. I'm a friend of everybody. So I'm not emphasizing religion or politics or where I come from. I enjoy Nigerians. Wherever I see a Nigerian, I'm very happy. So if anybody tells you when you see a fellow Nigerian start to frown, you're making yourself unhappy. In fact, if you frown at me, you're wasting time. because my name is Osi Enjoyment. I like to enjoy my life. If you are frowning at me, I don't even know you are frowning at me. Hello? Let us live and tolerate one another. That's how to enjoy Nigeria. Then nobody tell you this one is from this other place. Don't talk to him. Don't answer him. It is wrong. Then there should be voluntary information to NDLA, to the police, and to the army. If you see somebody doing something wrong, please say it out. Don't be quiet. While we are having more problem every day, people are doing wrong things and people are seeing them and they are keeping quiet. Please continue to give information and we are going to work. The police, the military, the NDLA and other uniform organizations are here to serve you. Give them information and they work for you. I know before I go further, somebody will ask, if I give information to NDLA, they will expose me. It is not true. NDLA, the only work we have is drug business. So if you give us information, you are our friend. But let me tell you where the problem comes from. When you give NDLA information, we are going to do our work. You may think we are rich. We know how we do our work. It may take 3 months to pick the person you talked about. It's not the day you tell us, look at the man, we don't go for it. Because if you go to him, you pick just one letter, you've not caught him. It will take 3 months to 6 months to pick a particular person you gave us information on about. We get to the root. Where is he getting the drugs from? Where does he store the drugs? Who is supplying the drugs to him? Does he have a bank account? How much money has he made from drugs? After this work has been concluded, before we pick you for prosecution. But I tell you the problem. Some of you, when you give us information and we pick the suspect, you start bragging. I am the one that gave information. They came and catch Alhaji Mukaila. I am the one that did it. Then the man will not, their people will say, okay, you are the one that made them to catch our oga. They come back to you in the night as armed robbers. And they say, hey, we are here representing Alhaji Mukaila. You gave information and they arrested him. We are here for you. You bring 1 billion, they don't collect. They are coming for your life. So the problem with information management is that the people giving us information, they start making a lot of noise and it gets to the ears of the enemy and they bounce back on you. Otherwise, the average officer you give information is happy to get it so that he will do his job. So information is not the problem. How you, the giver, manages the information. Then, one of the ways we are going to solve the problem of insecurity in the country is the establishment of drug-free club in schools. I'm happy to see students seated here. It is the policy of NDLA to establish drug-free clubs so that we use the young people to talk to young people. All of you seated here, I'm coming around to your school one after the other to establish drug-free clubs so that we use the young people to talk to young people. Students, hello. Hi. Then dialogue with aggrieved parties. Let me tell you why we have armed bandits, insurgents, Boko Haram. They are not in power at Abuja. Once they are in power, they stop it. So there are people who are angry at Buhari, and because he's there in Abuja, we call them aggrieved parties. It is the duty of the government and the community to continue to negotiate with them for peace, because they are our brothers. Bandits are not spirit, they are our brothers. Some of us, we know them, we know their names. Please, more round of applause as we have more parents coming to the hall. Students, clap for your parents as they come in. Thank you very much. As you clap for your parents, you become a parent one day and they will clap for you. More round of applause for your parents. Students, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we continue to dialogue with the aggrieved parties because they are our brothers and our sisters. And then finally, to solve the problem of insecurity, I talk about employment, whatever, but the fuel that always burn the fire of insecurity is drug. So we are going to carry anti-drug abuse sensitization programs in all parts of the ZAMFARA state because that's my mandate to make sure that everybody in ZAMFARA state is drug-free. Now to end my lecture, what is insecurity? What is insecurity? You go to big dictionaries, there are many definitions of insecurity, but I simplify it. Insecurity is the absence of peace in our minds. That's the first stage. The absence of peace in our minds, 1, our homes, 2, our schools, 3, our workplaces, 4, our communities, 5, and our nation, 6. Insecurity is the absence of peace in our minds, 1, in our homes, 2, in our schools, 3, in our workplaces, 4, in our communities, 5, in our nation, Nigeria, 6, and maybe the world at large, 7. When there is no peace in your heart, you are sleeping, you are not sure whether they will kidnap you in the night. You are in the school, you are not sure whether you go back home. Once you lose your peace, that's the beginning of insecurity. It's not when people start shooting guns. Insecurity starts from your heart. Once you lost your peace in the mind, you are no more secure. And this results to the loss of lives and property. It is my prayer that the young people will rise up and join our parents to make sure that Nigeria is better tomorrow, a better secure country for all of us. Thank you very much for listening. Students, thank you very much for listening. The sale of marijuana, the cultivation of marijuana, the transportation of it, and the use of marijuana in Nigeria. You might have heard that they have allowed it to be done overseas, but in Nigeria it's not yet allowed. So whoever you are, whatever uniform you are wearing, and wherever you come from, and you are taking marijuana, it is out of place. Whether whoever you are. I want to give you a story about uniform men before I come back to India. When I was in Zaria, the commandant of the military cantonment at Jaji, he gave an order. When a soldier comes to Mami Market, take your drink, take your pepper soup and eat your food and go back. Don't smoke marijuana in the barracks. And what the commandant did then, when a soldier is caught smoking marijuana in the cantonment, please a round of applause for your personnel that are coming to the hall. Please, a round of applause. Organizers, welcome them to their seats. Thank you very much. Well done, sir. More round of applause. These are your parents. Let's clap for them. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I was in Zaria doing this national assignment. Any soldier at that time that was caught in Jaji cantonment smoking marijuana, the commandant of that cantonment, not NDLA, the general of that cantonment will sack the soldier. After sacking the soldier for taking marijuana, he will send the soldier to my office in Zaria for counseling. And anytime I want to counsel that soldier, as if I will cry. This man has lost his job. What do I tell him? If a soldier could lose his job, sacked by a fellow soldier, not NDLA, for smoking marijuana, and you are in NDLA for God's sake and you're smoking publicly, my brother, take a second step. Take the person to the office. The person will go back to the village and start farming. You go back and do farm work. Or become an armed robber. Nobody at any capacity in Nigeria is allowed to smoke marijuana and talk of doing it publicly. So if you are a uniform man or NDL officer, you are doing it, our students are seeing us. So we should learn lesson from that. For the bonus of students to say they have been catching us but not reporting yet, just for catching us without reporting, a round of applause for the students for being bold to talk in that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Then to answer my question completely, Zakas, if you find one policeman or one NDL officer smoking marijuana, 10 students are smoking it. We have more students taking drugs than more uniformed men. So please, you students should also take note and correct themselves. While you're pointing one finger at me, the other four might be pointing at you. Students should talk to themselves. Because this policeman has gone to the top, he will soon die. You are still climbing. So if you follow a man that's about to die, you die quick. They may arrest the man, he has gotten wife, gotten children, gotten houses, and you arrest him, put to prison, life goes on. But you have not started your life. So one uniform man, 10 students are smoking in Nigeria for now. Take note of the statistics and correct yourself before you point too much at your parents. There's nothing wrong with pointing at your parents, but make sure you're clean before you point at your parents. A round of applause to the students once again. Thank you very much. Any question again? I'm ready for your question, please. Yes?
The Controller of Immigrations, the representative of Commissioner from Ministry of Youth, the very top senior traditional ruler here present with us, the Deputy Commandant, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the representative of Commissioner of Police, journalists, students, the Nigerian High Media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning all. My name is Elhato Abdullahi Jangere, PhD in View. I'm here to represent my boss, who is on official engagement, but inshallah, very soon he will meet us. He was equally directed me to come and discuss on a paper titled Ways in which youth may partner with Nigerian correctional personnel in a fight to bring insecurity and peace in ZAMFARA state. Before that, let me give a brief on our organizations, that is Nigerian Correctional Service. As you are all aware that the Nigerian Correctional Service derive its power from the Nigerian Correctional Service Act 2019. The Act reveals the Prison Act CAF P29, Law of the Federal Relations of Nigeria 2004, and provides that the Correctional Service shall consist of a custodial service and non-custodial service. Under Section 10 of the Act prescribes the following functions for the custodial service. Number one, taking custody of all persons legally in town. B, provide safe, secure, and human custody of inmates. We have conveying remand person to and from court in motorized formations, identifying the existence and causes of antisocial behavior of inmates, conducting risks and need assessment aimed at developing appropriate correctional treatment method for reformation, rehabilitation, and reintegrations. F, implementing reformation and rehabilitation programs to inform the reintegration of inmates back into the society. Likewise, we have initiating behavior modification in inmates through the provision of medical, psychological, spiritual, counseling services for all offenders, including violent extremists. H, we have empowering inmates through the development of educational and vocational skill trainings programs and facilitating in safety and income generation through custodial centers, farms, and the industries. I, administering hostel and related institutions. J, providing support to facilitate the speedy dispose of persons awaiting trial. And lastly, performing other functions as may be required to further the general goals of the service. Under Section 37, subsection 1 of the Act also states that the Nigerian Correctional Service is responsible for the administration of non-custodial measures. And these non-custodial measures include community service, probation, parole, restorative justice measures, and any other non-custodial measures assigned to the correctional service by a court of content jurisdiction. The correctional service in Nigeria is a federal phenomenon. That is to say that the service is exclusively a federal government concern, which means that no state or pronoun has the power in law to operate or maintain custodial centers. One obvious advantage of this development is that no state can take political advantage of Nigerian Correctional Service for the purpose of setting political scores. Now, let me go to the topic given to us, that is prospective area of partnership with ZAMFARA youths. Number one, we have what we call intelligence sharing or intelligence gathering. Under this, it is a logical fact that the war against insecurity cannot be pointed out credible intelligence. Intelligence sharing between Nigerian Correctional Service and ZAMFARA youth is done in the following ways. The Nigerian Correctional Service, by virtue of its custodial mandate, is one agency that is strategic in terms of access to credible intelligence. The service houses criminal elements of different caliber, in their numbers across different locations. These persons, by virtue of their antecedents and affiliations, are able to provide useful information that will serve as good lead to arrest and the criminal investigation. There are several instances of inmates in custody providing key intelligence leading to the arrest of their gang members and even other criminal gangs. This has helped to curtail crime and the criminalities. And if proper harnessed, can do a lot more. That is to say, that is why it is extremely appalling to hear that controllers of corrections in some states are not members of the Security Council. In another dimension, the rising spate of external jailbreak in the country call for great partnership with youth in gathering and sharing credible intelligence on planned attack. Breaking jail is synonymous to unleashing terror on the society because it enables criminals to walk freely on the streets, hence facilitating criminality and interrupting the statutory role of corrections in keeping criminals out of circulations. In such unfortunate instances, the justice process is truncated and can lead to self-help or jungle justice by aggrieved citizens, hence facilitating rancor. Furthermore, in the event of escape of inmate for a lawful custody, the recapture process of escapee cannot be effective without the involvement of youth within the community. That is to say, such parties always rely on the cooperation of members of the public. 2. On social recovery process. Beyond custody and the keeping offenders out of circulations, Nigerian Correctional Service is statutorily mandated to reform and rehabilitate inmates in preparations for reintegration into the society and to curtail recidivism. Recidivism is simply habitual relapse or return to crime. This is more to say with the era of corrections that emphasize punishment and prioritize behavior modifications through strategic training regimes and psychosocial support. Aside inmates on death row and those on life sentences, all convicts are expected to someday return to the society after their time in custody. As a matter of fact, jail terms are expected to be transformation period where the inmates change their negative positions and better their lives. Youth have a role to play in helping reform inmates recover socially, reintegrate and resettle through social and moral support, avoiding tendency of stigmatizing ex-offender in another area of concern and responsibility. In the same vein, the youth possess special vocational skill can also volunteer to train inmates in such areas, thereby reducing the burden on government. The aftercare scheme of the Nigerian Correctional Service, which assists ex-offenders who learn a vocational skill while in custody, will start off tools in a great avenue for youth. To key in by patronizing and sports as well as employment, where possible. The emphasis here is about acceptance, inclusion, and incorporation of ex-offenders to prevent them from returning to all negative ways that promote insecurity. It is pertinent to note that Section 14, subsection C6 of Nigerian Correctional Acts 2019 protect a well-reformed ex-inmate from being discriminated against on ground of custodial sentence. We have what we call non-custodial measures. This one is also the newly introduced measure which has further drawn the operations of the Correctional Service closer to the people, thereby making all patriotic citizens, stakeholders, ZAMFARA youth can key into this alternative to incarcerations by supporting Nigerian Correctional Service to administer the non-custodial sentence, since they operate in the open society, while all the measures have special advantage to the society at large. Restorative justice is regarded as a natural and traditional philosophy of justice into alternative dispute resolutions. The uniqueness of restorative justice is in the fact that it addresses issues concerning both the victims and the offender, winning peace and fostering cordial communal living. It also promotes dialogue, mediation, and reconciliation, which give less room for abnormal behavior as a result of individual or personal grievance. These measures are highly unpopular to the public. Therefore, youth of ZAMFARA State are urged to buy into this global best practice and help sensitize others to promote a peaceful and safe society. Number 4, enlightenment, support, and social activities. This is also relevant for education, recreation, inclusiveness, reformation, and to calm freeness. The opportunity is there for patriotic youth of ZAMFARA State to engage those in custody through enlightenment and sensitization program, as well as sports and other social events. As simple as it looks, this has proven to have a far-reaching psychological effect on offenders, as their hope of returning to normal social life is gradually restored. Tough government officials and public spirited individuals that have celebrated birthday and other festivals with image have always assisted in resettling their mind to a more positive perspective to life. Payment of their fines to secure release is another window of opportunity to restore hope. All this get them motivated and they able their minds to bear off crime and then become better citizens who will also fight crime and the criminalities. In conclusion, by rendering these services earlier discussed in these presentations, Nigerian Correctional Service is in reality the last boss stop in the internal security chain. Its role is critical to national security, and without the correction functioning as it does, the operation of frontline agencies as the police force or the armed forces in time of low intensive conflicts will be frustrated. We must also note that a security threat to just one custodial center is a grave danger for the entire country and even beyond. In emphasizing this fact, the federal government has declared all custodial centers as red zone. Government at all levels is encouraged to keep off the fight against the enemies of humanity and continue to involve ways to take them out. Urgent and due attention must also be given to all unofficial sponsors of insecurity, which include poverty, illiteracy, and unemployment. Security is everybody's business because nothing is possible in an atmosphere of fear, terror, uncertainty, criminalities, and chaos. We must also remain patriotic for us to have a nation we can proudly call our own. Government will continue to try its best. We must also do so. I call on all ZAMFARA youths. This is our hope. We must stand our ground and fight our causes through all legitimate means. it is also for actions, real action. The fighting forces and indeed all security agencies deserve our support and encouragement. With God Almighty on our side, good will surely overcome evils. Stay vigilant and alert. You are the future of Nigeria. Thank you for listening.
That has been a well-articulated presentation delivered by
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amma ba'd, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The Comptroller, Immigration Service, ZAMFARA State Command, the representative of the Chief of the Gusau Emirate Councils, they are present. The representative of the Commissioner of Police, here present. All other colleagues in service from other formations, here present. I honorably request for your permission, sir, to stand on the existing protocols. So far, so good. On the limited time, I have been asserted with the informations on a call being directed by the State Commander, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, to stand in his gesture by representing him on an overview of the duties of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, as well as of the security major stakeholders operating in the country, Nigeria. In the same regard, to give you a sensitization and awareness campaign for safety measures against kidnapping. I'm standing before you today as a colleague, brother, indeed, a deputy commandant in charge of operations, a training department, NSCDC, ZAMFARA State Command. Once again, assalamu alaikum to all of you. Before granting you a listening from what I'm going to impart, rather inculcate into your brains, I first of all start by challenging you all. The great youth, the great youth, the great and the great youth. Are we all students? Yes. I want to hear you. Are you students? Yes. The first question I want you to start thinking on how to answer is, why am I student? What mandated me to become student? How do I become student? What do I need to be in my position being a student? And how to attain my aims before passing out from any of the institutions you are being sourced from. You need to know you are a student, not just because you are a youth, not just because you are a child, not because your parent wanted you to be a student. But you are a student because the society, through your parents and guardians, urge you to be a national cadet. How do you attempt to be a national cadet? Because you are a major stakeholder in the development of national skills towards attaining and achieving any goal. Some of you may be president tomorrow. Some of you may be vice president. Some of you may be ministers. Some of you may be commissioners. Some of you may be state governors. Am I communicated? Yes, sir. So please, you are to follow me gently and rationally to attain the objective and the aim that employ you to be here. I was a student, still a student. my DS, is it DSI or DSC? From the Correctional Service, stood before you to tell you that he is a PhD in view, which means he's still a student. I'm still a student and I was a teacher. Once a teacher is always a teacher. Referring back to an overview of the NSCDC as one of the major security stakeholders in the country Nigeria operates, the NSCDC security organizations was enacted into the Act in Nigeria as one of the major stakeholders to operate within the country and to provide security in the year 2003. After coming a long way from being a security but a voluntary organization. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps is known with a motto, defending the defenseless, but with humility, integrity, so as to achieve that service delivery. Whom is the NSCDC expected to deliver the service with integrity? You are the Nigerians. The issue of security is in your hand. If you say we allow the security case and cases to be only in the hand of the government in Nigeria, you are gone, you are finished, and you are lost. We have to take it a general challenge. We have to take it as a major machinery that all of us should combine together to start thinking and being rational on how to come out of it for a better living, for a better society, and for a better country, Nigeria. If you say no to that, there will never, and there will not be peace in this country. Why? Most of the insecurity attributes not just start from the society or community alone, but they start from the security society. Insecurity society, Those schools, mechanisms, either primary school, secondary school, and tertiary institutions, call the varieties of students that are from different societies, from different families, and of different upbringings. So on this note, you must attain a very objective love and affection in between yourself. In one of the hadiths of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "La yu'minu ahadukum hatta yuhibbu li akhihi ma yuhibbu li nafsihi." For you to be a meaningful and accepted Muslim, you must equally wish your fellow brother and sister equal wish you have to yourself to achieve. If you said, I want to succeed and achieve, but my colleague in the class should also fail, you are not a true Muslim. And if you want my community to be attacked, but your own community should be safe, and you remain in peace, truly you are not a good Muslim. Therefore, that love and affection must be extended properly. Civil defense, we are into general security. Most of you only know NSCDC as security organization as the major stakeholder who curtail the activities of vandalism in this country, Nigeria. Yes, of course, we are. Because if there is any security machinery in this country that make any arrest or apprehend. If writing should be done, such arrest will be handed over to NSCDC for proper investigation and prosecutions. My fellow staff of the NDLEA superintendent, whom I had he come either from Akwa Ibom or Cross River. After dropping Brother Mike, I channeled him with a greeting through his own language, where I said emissary. Emissary, I mean good morning. He responded emissary, I said, about the idea come. So. I was opportune to work in Akwa Ibom as the assistant commander in charge of vandalism. They are the anti-vandals. Virtually, Arab Sheikh, please, I need more. Let me flash away that point. Coming back to you, students. You are in school because you need to obtain education, and what that education is all about. There are many opinions from the philosophers, from the scholars, from the professors who aim in defining educations. But let me just attribute to the definition given by a former professor of education in Nigeria, A. Basfafuma, who was equally a minister of education in Nigeria, where he, in a book written by him, Historical Development of Education in Nigeria, a book written in 1973, where he defined education to be an aggregate of all the development of young adult developed attitude and other forms of behavior which are positive value to the society in which we live. This is to tell you, we can only recognize you are identified to be an educated person if you imbibe a true culture and become dynamic towards a meaningful life. This is to tell you, you have to start thinking, you have to start working on yourself, placing all mechanisms to go away with any unethical behavior, so that to safeguard yourself to be effective and become a good material to your own parent and to the society. Say no to drugs addicts. Say no to vandalism. Say no to crimes of any type. Say no to kidnapping. And say no to banditry. Kidnapping is a serious threat, and criminal offenses that usually involve the taking away of expectations of a person against the person's will, usually to hold the person in false imprisonment, confinement without legal authority. There are various ways through which we can effectively check or manage this form of insecurity and security threat. Some of these safety tips may include the following. Before kidnapping. To avoid being kidnapped, you are advised to reduce the things or social activities that can attract the attention of kidnappers towards you. One should not display him, her, asset nationally or internationally affiliation anyhow. For instance, as a set of kidnappers may be targeting employees or various companies to kidnap for a ransom. If one of this type that is lousy and allows everybody to know that she is working in such a big organization for the purpose of earning the respect of his or her neighbors, may be a victim of these untolerated means. As you may be aware, The issue of kidnapping in Nigeria is becoming more incredible. So you ought to be careful, be guided, be gentle. You have to develop respect for diversity, culture, and ethnicity. Don't just see somebody moving on the street and you begin to hate him. No. Allow security agents to check on him before you should be asked to go away from him. And if you observe any scenario or any situation that is unwarranted, please kindly, systematically make a report. It could be verbal, it could be formal to security agencies. We have a link. Civil defense can reach police, police can reach civil defense can equally reach NDLEA, correctional service, immigration, fires, etc., etc. Thank you very much.
Please a round of applause to this wonderful speaker.
In terms of who answers the name youth? Who answers what? The name youth. Associations, organizations, quote and unquote, youth organizations emanate every now and then. But when you look at those associations, organizations, you ask yourselves, where are the youths in these associations? Where are the youths that answer the name youth in this association? So by way of definition, who is called a youth? So many definitions emanate, so many categorizations based on age. But when you go to the Advanced Learners Dictionary, the definition you will find about who a youth is and who is called a youth is that person or that period of existence from which stage? From the what? The childhood stage to the what? To the adult stage. They did not go into categorization, or they did not define it by aging. But you know, as you all know, we have organizations that deal with policies about youth, youth development, youth empowerment, and the likes. United Nations define youth as a person between the ages of 15 and 25. Wow. 15 and 25. If you are out of 25, you are not a youth. And if you are below 15, you are a child. So, if we go by this categorization, of those that stood while I asked in the initial stage, how many of you will sit down? Many. Many, because I saw the likes of Lukman standing, and they are calling themselves youth. Again, but the United Nations did not exempt the other opinions. There are other opinions for this definition. Like, they recognize, without prejudice to the other age group, opinions by some member states that categorize a youth as a child between the age of puberty in Nigeria, like in Nigeria, the age of 18 and 30. You see, additional 5 years. Ages between what? 18 and 30 as a youth. But let's come back to Nigeria, where we live. Youth in Nigeria includes citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria aged 18 to 29. 18 to 29 years, according to the new policy, according to the new youth policy. However, African Charter recognizes youth as people between the ages of 15 and 35. Can you see the difference? United Nations 15 to 25, Nigeria 18 to 29. They are 18 to 29, but African Charter recognizes ages from where? From 15 to 35, giving you a coverage from the minimum of the United Nations and the creating a new maximum, which is 35 years. So in a nutshell, when you are out of 35, you are out of being called a youth. So 35 now inclusive. But this variance in chronologies are used in defining youth and are addressed by members of state in accordance to their particular society. Each and every society has its own peculiarity. That is why even in the definition, United Nations defines this, but among the member states also of the United Nations, they have their own different definition or categorization of the youth. So, definition of youth is being also determined by what? Peculiarities of a particular society. That is why when you come back to our normal traditional set of Hausa people, somebody that is in the age of 40 is termed as what? As a youth. 40, 45 also, they term him as a youth. So it depends on your perception of who a youth is, or it depends on the society. This definition, Islamically also, there is this different categorization or different opinions about who a youth is. But because of time, I'll just take the opinion of ZAMFARA that held the opinion that a person that is called a youth is a person that lives between what? The age of 14 and he ends at the age of 40 also. This is the middle opinion as far as the Islamic scholars or the way they categorize youth. I'm taking it the maximum from the way they perceive it. There are also definitions that agree with the United Nations definition between the ages of 15 and the ages of what? 25. Now coming to what we call youth empowerment. Nowadays what we see, having known who a youth is, coming to the topic reads youth economic empowerment. I underline that economic empowerment. What do we mean by youth empowerment in the first place? Youth empowerment can be defined as a process where people gain the ability and authority to make informed decisions. I want you to underline this: informed decision, and implement changes in their own lives